Welcome to the Ikigai audiobook, Lessons from Japan's Centenarians. In this chapter, you'll uncover the secrets behind why some people live longer, healthier, and more vibrant lives. We'll explore how diet, movement, social connection, purpose, and mindset all combine to support extraordinary longevity. By the end, you'll see that living a long life isn't just about years. It's about cultivating habits, attitudes, and relationships that make every day meaningful and full of vitality. Section 1. The Secret of Okinawa's Blue Zone. When researchers set out to understand why Okinawa, a chain of subtropical islands in southern Japan, had the highest concentration of centenarians in the world, they were astonished by what they found. It wasn't advanced medicine or genetic luck that gave Okinawans their remarkable longevity. Instead, it was their daily lives, the food they ate, the way they moved, their sense of belonging, and their unshakable optimism that allowed them to thrive well into their 90s and beyond. To walk through a village in Okinawa is to witness a different rhythm of life. Elders are not tucked away in retirement homes or isolated apartments. They remain at the heart of their communities. A 100-year-old woman may still be seen tending her garden, laughing with friends, or practicing traditional dance. A man in his late 90s might rise early to join his neighbors in gentle exercises at the park. They are not just alive, they are engaged, purposeful, and vibrant. One of the first lessons researchers uncovered is the Okinawan approach to diet. They traditionally followed what is now called the Okinawan diet, based on sweet potatoes, vegetables, soy products like tofu and miso, small amounts of fish, and very little meat or dairy. Meals were light yet nourishing, high in nutrients but low in calories. Most importantly, Okinawans practiced hara hachi bu, eating until they were about 80% full. This prevents overeating and keeps the body in balance. Science now confirms that reducing calories without malnutrition can extend lifespan and reduce the risk of disease, something Okinawans have lived by for generations. Yet food alone does not explain their vitality. Equally essential is their commitment to movement as a natural part of life. Unlike structured workouts, Okinawans stay active through gardening, walking, traditional crafts, and maintaining their homes. Squatting while cooking, kneeling on tatami mats, and sitting on the floor to share meals all encourage flexibility and mobility. These daily movements maintain strength and balance without feeling like exercise, helping them avoid the frailty common elsewhere. Perhaps most inspiring is the Okinawan concept of Ikigai, a reason to wake up in the morning. While we explored Ikigai earlier as a personal compass, for Okinawans it is lived naturally through family, community, and tradition. A grandmother may see her Ikigai in caring for great-grandchildren. A farmer might find it in tending the land his ancestors cultivated. A retired craftsman may dedicate his time to teaching. Having this sense of purpose not only keeps their minds sharp, but also provides resilience during hardships. Social connection is another cornerstone. Okinawans participate in moai, small, lifelong circles of friends who support one another emotionally, socially, and even financially if needed. These bonds provide a safety net against loneliness, known to shorten lifespan dramatically. Within a moai, joy is shared, grief is lightened, and no one feels abandoned. Science shows strong social ties are as crucial to longevity as diet or exercise, and Okinawans embody this truth daily. Another striking trait of Okinawan centenarians is their optimistic outlook and calm acceptance of life's flow. They practice gratitude, avoid unnecessary stress, and do not cling to resentment. Laughter is abundant. Festivals mark the seasons, and even in adversity they find reasons to smile. Stress, which corrodes health and accelerates aging, is minimized not by avoiding challenges, but by meeting them with resilience and lightness. Finally, Okinawans are deeply connected to nature and spirituality. Daily exposure to the outdoors, gardening, walking, praying at shrines, or simply enjoying the sea breeze nourishes both body and spirit. Respect for ancestors and gratitude for life are woven into their worldview, grounding them in something greater than themselves. Taken together, these elements, nourishing diet, natural movement, purpose, community, optimism, and spiritual connection, form a holistic lifestyle that sustains them for over a century. None of these practices are extreme or complicated. They are modest, consistent, and rooted in joy. This may be the greatest lesson of Okinawa. Longevity is not a secret locked away in medicine, but something built from daily choices and cultural values. As we begin this chapter, the lives of Okinawan centenarians remind us that living long is not just about adding years to our life, but about adding life to our years. Their example challenges us to rethink aging, not as decline, but as an opportunity to grow in wisdom, connection, and fulfillment. Section 2. Eating for a century. If you sit down for a meal in Okinawa, you'll quickly notice that food is treated as both nourishment and ritual. Plates are colorful but never overwhelming, portions are modest, and every bite reflects centuries of wisdom about how diet shapes life. For the Okinawan centenarian, eating is not about restriction or indulgence. It is about harmony between body and nature, appetite and restraint, health and pleasure. Central to this is the principle of harahachi byu, stopping when one is 80% full. More than a cultural saying, it is a practice rooted in mindfulness. Instead of eating until stuffed, Okinawans learn to recognize satiety early and leave the table comfortably satisfied. Science has validated this custom, showing that consuming fewer calories without malnutrition reduces inflammation, lowers oxidative stress, and may even slow cellular aging. Where much of the modern world eats past hunger, Okinawans have long embraced moderation as a pathway to vitality. The traditional Okinawan diet itself is remarkable. For centuries, sweet potatoes, not rice, were the staple food, providing complex carbohydrates, fiber, and antioxidants. These were paired with a rainbow of vegetables such as bitter melon, seaweed, cabbage, carrots, and pumpkin. Soy-based foods like tofu and miso added protein and phytonutrients, while small amounts of fish contributed omega-3 fats. Meat and dairy were consumed rarely, and refined sugar was virtually absent. Meals were high in nutrients, yet naturally low in calories, creating what researchers now describe as calorie-light but nutrient-dense eating. Equally important is the cultural approach to how food is shared. Meals are served in multiple small dishes, which naturally slows the pace of eating. Presentation matters and variety is valued, so each meal offers a spectrum of tastes, textures, and colors. Eating becomes an experience of appreciation rather than consumption. By the time an Okinawan finishes a meal, they have eaten mindfully, enjoyed balance, and honored their connection to the land and sea. Another key element is the reliance on plant-based nutrition. Studies comparing Okinawan elders to populations in the West reveal significantly lower rates of heart disease, cancer, and dementia. The antioxidants and flavonoids in their vegetables protect against cell damage, while soy foods help regulate cholesterol and support bone health. Fish is often grilled or simmered rather than fried, and green tea is a daily staple, providing polyphenols that combat aging. This gentle, plant-forward way of eating has become a model for what is now widely recommended as a longevity diet. But food in Okinawa is not merely fuel. It is medicine, memory, and identity. Bitter melon, for example, is cherished for lowering blood sugar, while turmeric is used for its anti-inflammatory effects. Seaweed brings iodine and minerals from the ocean. Each ingredient carries both nutritional and cultural meaning, passed down through generations. Even sweets are enjoyed sparingly, often made from natural ingredients like brown sugar, and eaten during festivals rather than daily. Perhaps what sets Okinawan food culture apart most is its relationship to gratitude. Before eating, the phrase "itadakimasu" is spoken, meaning "I humbly receive." This simple ritual acknowledges the farmer, the cook, and nature itself. After finishing, diners say, "Gochisu-sama," giving thanks for the meal. This mindful frame transforms eating from a routine act into a practice of appreciation, reinforcing the psychological benefits of gratitude that contribute to overall well-being. Contrast this with modern eating habits elsewhere. Rushed meals, oversized portions, processed foods high in sugar and fat. Such patterns fuel chronic illness and accelerate aging. In Okinawa, restraint, freshness, and respect guide dietary choices. Meals are aligned with seasonal cycles, and food is rarely wasted. Even alcohol is consumed lightly, often in the form of awamori, a local rice spirit, enjoyed in moderation with friends. The lesson for us is clear. Longevity does not come from extreme diets, expensive supplements, or rigid rules. It comes from simplicity, balance, and consistency. Eating until we are no longer hungry instead of until we are full, choosing more plants than meat, savoring a wide variety of colorful foods, and approaching each meal with gratitude can all transform not only our health, but our relationship to life itself. For Okinawan centenarians, food is not about extending life, it is about enhancing it. Their way of eating fuels not just their bodies, but their joy, resilience, and community bonds. And perhaps that is why, when asked about the secret to their longevity, many simply smile and point to the table. Section 3. Movement woven into daily life. If you picture exercise in much of the modern world, you might imagine gyms filled with treadmills, weight machines, and fitness classes. In Okinawa, the idea of exercise is far more natural, subtle, and sustainable. The centenarians here rarely work out in the conventional sense. Instead, movement is seamlessly woven into the fabric of everyday life. This integration of activity into daily routines keeps the body strong, supple, and resilient for decades longer than most people expect. A walk through an Okinawan village reveals the small but constant motions that define their lifestyle. Elderly women squat easily as they tend their vegetable patches, pulling weeds or planting sweet potatoes. Men in their 90s can still be seen repairing fishing nets, carrying baskets, or working with tools. Meals are eaten on tatami mats at low tables, which means standing up and sitting down several times a day. These repeated transitions strengthen leg muscles and improve balance, simple habits that protect against falls, one of the greatest risks for older adults elsewhere. Gardening deserves special attention. Nearly every centenarian has a garden, whether large or small, where they grow vegetables, herbs, and flowers. This activity provides more than fresh produce. It ensures daily bending, stretching, lifting, and walking. Unlike forced exercise routines, gardening has a purpose. It nourishes both body and spirit. It also creates a connection with nature, allowing elders to spend time outdoors, absorb sunlight for vitamin D, and enjoy the calming rhythms of the seasons. Equally important are traditional practices that keep movement joyful. In many communities, mornings begin with Ragio Taiso, a group calisthenics routine broadcast over the radio. These gentle stretches, lasting only a few minutes, are performed by young and old alike. The movements are not strenuous, yet they maintain flexibility and coordination. Group dancing is another favorite, often performed during festivals. Even at 100, many Okinawans still join in, clapping, moving, and laughing with neighbors. Walking is also a constant. Because villages are compact, most errands are done on foot. Centenarians do not drive everywhere. Instead, they stroll to the market, visit friends, or walk through fields. This steady, low-intensity activity accumulates over the years, contributing to cardiovascular health without strain. Unlike bursts of exercise followed by long periods of sitting, their days are filled with movement from morning until night. Posture and body mechanics also play a role. Sitting on the floor, kneeling, and squatting require core strength and flexibility. These habits naturally preserve mobility and reduce stiffness. Many elders retain the ability to sit cross-legged or kneel well past their 90s, something that prevents the loss of independence so common in other cultures. Movement is not treated as something separate from life, but as part of how life is lived. Science has confirmed the benefits of this lifestyle. Regular, moderate physical activity reduces the risk of heart disease, diabetes, dementia, and depression. It also strengthens bones, maintains muscle mass, and supports healthy weight. The Okinawan example shows us that we don't need to push our bodies to extremes. What matters most is consistency and integration. By staying gently active every day, they avoid the dangers of both sedentary living and overexertion. What is perhaps most inspiring is the joyful spirit with which Okinawans move. They don't exercise out of guilt, obligation, or vanity. Movement is tied to purpose, community, and pleasure. Gardening means food for the family. Walking means seeing friends. Dance means laughter and celebration. This emotional dimension keeps activity sustainable because it is something to look forward to, not a chore to endure. The lesson is clear. Longevity is not built in short bursts of intense effort, but in the steady rhythm of small, meaningful actions. We don't need hours in the gym to stay healthy. We can instead design our environments and habits so movement becomes unavoidable. Taking the stairs, tending plants, walking more, sitting on the floor, stretching daily, and finding forms of activity we enjoy. For Okinawan centenarians, movement is not about chasing fitness goals or sculpting physiques. It is about living fully, remaining capable, and staying connected. Their lives remind us that the best exercise is the one you hardly notice because it is simply part of who you are and how you live. And that, perhaps, is the true secret to remaining strong and mobile well into our 100th year. Section 4. The Power of Social Bonds. When asked about the secret to their long lives, Okinawan centenarians often mention not diet or exercise first, but people. In these islands, human connection is as vital as food or water. Belonging to a supportive community, maintaining deep friendships, and having a role in society are considered essential ingredients for a long, happy life. This emphasis on social bonds is one of the clearest reasons why Okinawa is home to so many vibrant elders. At the heart of this culture is the tradition of the moai, a lifelong circle of friends who support one another in every possible way. A moai is not a casual social group. It is a committed bond formed early in life, often in childhood. Members of a moai gather regularly to share meals, exchange stories, celebrate milestones, and provide assistance during hard times. If one member struggles financially, others contribute. If someone falls ill, the group rallies to care for them. This collective responsibility creates a sense of security that buffers against the loneliness and anxiety that plague aging populations elsewhere. For Okinawan elders, these bonds mean that no one ever feels truly alone. A centenarian woman might spend her mornings gardening, but her afternoons drinking tea with her moai, laughing and recalling memories. Men in their 90s gather to play games like Go or Shogi, challenging one another's minds while reinforcing companionship. These routines, though simple, sustain both emotional and physical health. Modern research shows that strong social connections reduce the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even premature death. In fact, loneliness has been linked to the same level of health risk as smoking or obesity. The Okinawan lifestyle naturally protects against this. Beyond moai, the role of family remains central. Unlike in societies where elders may be sidelined, Okinawan families integrate older generations into daily life. Grandparents often live near or with children and grandchildren. They help with childcare, pass down traditions, and offer guidance. In return, younger family members honor and care for them. This intergenerational exchange fosters a sense of purpose for the elderly and ensures they remain valued contributors to family life. Festivals, rituals, and communal activities further reinforce connection. Seasonal events bring entire villages together for dance, music, and prayer. Elders are not spectators but participants, dressed in traditional clothing, moving to the rhythm of drums and joining the celebrations. These events strengthen identity and belonging, reminding each person that they are part of something larger than themselves. Even spiritual practices, such as honoring ancestors at shrines or during open festivals, deepen communal bonds by linking families across generations. One of the striking observations researchers have made is how laughter and joy are ever present in Okinawan gatherings. Centenarians laugh easily, tease playfully, and engage in lighthearted banter. This is more than a cultural quirk. It is a health asset. Laughter reduces stress hormones, boosts the immune system, and enhances circulation. More importantly, it creates emotional warmth, turning social interactions into powerful medicine for body and soul. Another dimension of Okinawan social life is the absence of rigid retirement. Elders are not pushed aside once they reach a certain age. Instead, they continue to contribute in ways appropriate to their abilities, teaching, crafting, storytelling, or farming in smaller plots. This integration into community life sustains their sense of relevance. To feel needed and appreciated is one of the greatest protectors of mental health, and Okinawan elders embody this truth. The lesson for us is clear. To live long and well, we cannot neglect relationships. In modern societies, independence is often valued above all else, but complete independence can slide into isolation. The Okinawan model shows us that interdependence, relying on others and being relied upon, is what sustains human beings. Building close friendships, maintaining family ties, joining communities, and engaging in shared rituals all extend not just lifespan, but health span, the years of life spent in good health. For Okinawan centenarians, social bonds are not an afterthought. They are the foundation. They remind us that we are not meant to live in isolation and that the warmth of connection is as vital as any medicine or diet. To nurture our relationships is in many ways to nurture our longevity. Section 5. Mindset, resilience, and joy. Longevity in Okinawa is not just about what people eat or how they move. It is also deeply tied to how they think and feel. When researchers speak with centenarians, they often remark on their positive outlook, resilience in hardship, and ability to find joy in the ordinary. These mental and emotional qualities act as powerful shields against the wear and tear of aging, proving that how we approach life matters as much as how we live it physically. One of the defining features of Okinawan elders is their calm acceptance of life's flow. They do not cling tightly to stress, anger, or regret. Instead, they practice what could be described as emotional lightness. Difficulties are acknowledged but not allowed to dominate. A bad harvest, an illness, or the loss of a loved one is met with a balance of mourning and forward motion. This resilience comes partly from cultural traditions that emphasize impermanence and partly from the supportive social structures that ensure no one faces hardship alone. Another cornerstone of their mindset is gratitude. Many centenarians speak of giving thanks each morning simply for waking up, for the food on their table, for the company of family and friends. Gratitude shifts focus away from what is lacking toward what is abundant, creating a steady sense of contentment. Modern psychology confirms what Okinawan elders have long embodied. Grateful people have lower levels of stress, improved immune function, and greater life satisfaction. Equally significant is their playful spirit. In conversations with Okinawan elders, researchers are struck by how often they laugh. Jokes and humor are woven into daily interactions. Even at 100, many tease their grandchildren, sing folk songs, or share funny stories with friends. This sense of lightheartedness keeps the mind young and reduces the corrosive effects of chronic stress. Scientific studies now show that positive emotions strengthen resilience, helping people recover more quickly from illness and setbacks. Purpose also plays a central role in mental health. As mentioned earlier, the concept of Ikigai, one's reason for being, provides a psychological anchor. For many elders, their Ikigai is not grand or abstract. It may be as simple as tending a garden, caring for great-grandchildren, or contributing to a community ritual. Having this reason to rise each morning combats feelings of emptiness and maintains cognitive sharpness. When the mind is engaged with meaning, it resists decline. Spirituality adds another layer of resilience. Though not always tied to organized religion, many Okinawans honor ancestors, visit shrines, or participate in rituals that connect them to something larger than themselves. This spiritual grounding offers comfort during times of uncertainty and fosters humility, reminding them that life is part of a greater cycle. Such practices reduce fear of death and promote peace in later years. Stress management in Okinawa is not about techniques or formal therapy. It is about living in harmony with one's environment and relationships. The natural pace of village life, time outdoors, strong family ties, and cultural rituals all create buffers against the pressures that often overwhelm people in modern, urban settings. Instead of rushing, multitasking, or chasing endless goals, Okinawan elders embrace a slower rhythm where presence is valued over productivity. It is also worth noting their resilient history. Okinawa endured war, poverty, and hardship during the 20th century, yet its people rebuilt their communities with perseverance and optimism. This generational resilience is embodied in today's centenarians, who have lived through upheavals but emerged with strength rather than bitterness. Their stories teach us that longevity is not about avoiding challenges, but about cultivating the mental flexibility to face them with courage and grace. The broader lesson for us is profound. Cultivating longevity is not just about adding healthy habits, but also about reshaping our mindset. By practicing gratitude, lightening our emotional load, laughing often, embracing purpose, and accepting life's ups and downs, we can create an inner environment where resilience thrives. Just as diet and movement shape the body, attitude and outlook shape the spirit. For Okinawan centenarians, joy is not found in extraordinary achievements, but in simple daily pleasures. The taste of fresh vegetables, the laughter of children, the rhythm of a festival song, the sight of the sea at dawn. Their lives remind us that aging well is not about clinging to youth, but about nurturing peace, gratitude, and delight at every stage of life. Section 6. Lessons we can bring into our own lives. The extraordinary longevity of Okinawa's centenarians might seem like a distant dream, shaped by culture, geography, and traditions unique to their islands. Yet their way of living offers universal lessons we can apply no matter where we are. Longevity is not about luck or genetics alone. It is the natural outcome of daily choices, mindset, and community. By observing how these elders live, we can identify practical ways to enhance not just our lifespan, but our health span. The years of life lived with vitality and purpose. The first lesson is the power of moderation in eating. Practicing hara-hachi-bu, stopping before we are completely full, prevents overeating and protects long-term health. Choosing a diet rich in plants, whole foods, and seasonal produce provides the body with nutrients without excess calories. Even in modern settings, this principle can be applied by eating slowly, serving smaller portions, and prioritizing vegetables, legumes, and fish over processed foods. The goal is not restriction, but balance, enjoying food while respecting the body's limits. The second lesson is to integrate movement naturally. Instead of separating exercise into rigid, strenuous sessions, Okinawans move gently but consistently throughout the day. For us, this might mean walking or cycling for errands, taking the stairs, gardening, stretching at home, or sitting on the floor to encourage flexibility. Small, repeated motions accumulate into lifelong fitness. What matters is not intensity, but consistency, building movement into our environment so that it becomes second nature. The third lesson is the importance of social bonds. In a world where loneliness is increasingly common, we can learn from the Moai model, forming close, supportive circles of friends who are there for one another through all of life's seasons. Strengthening family ties, joining community groups, or nurturing a few close friendships can protect against isolation and enrich our lives immeasurably. Human beings are wired for connection, and investing in relationships is one of the most powerful ways to extend both happiness and health. The fourth lesson is to cultivate a mindset of resilience and gratitude. Life will inevitably bring challenges, but how we respond makes all the difference. By practicing gratitude daily, laughing often, and accepting life's imperfections, we build psychological strength that protects against stress and decline. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship, but about moving through it with grace. Embracing joy in simple pleasures, as Okinawan elders do, helps us sustain a lightness of heart that supports both body and spirit. The fifth lesson is to nurture purpose and meaning. Having an Ikigai, whether raising children, tending a garden, creating, teaching, or caring for others, gives us a reason to wake each morning with energy. Purpose fuels mental sharpness and emotional well-being. Even small commitments can provide this sense of direction, and it can evolve over time. The key is to stay engaged with life, to remain needed, and to keep contributing in ways that align with who we are. Finally, the Okinawan way reminds us of the importance of living in harmony with nature and tradition, spending time outdoors, following the rhythms of the seasons, and honoring rituals that connect us to something greater than ourselves, bring balance and peace. Whether it is tending plants, walking in a park, practicing meditation, or simply pausing to watch a sunset, these small acts ground us and restore a sense of perspective often lost in modern, fast-paced lives. None of these practices are extreme. They do not require vast wealth, perfect genetics, or elaborate systems. They are built from small, consistent choices: eating moderately, moving daily, staying connected, practicing gratitude, and living with purpose. This simplicity is precisely what makes them so powerful and so replicable. The Centenarians of Okinawa remind us that longevity is not just about extending life, but about enhancing it, filling our years with vitality, connection, and meaning. By adopting even a few of their habits, we can transform the way we age, shifting from decline toward growth. Their lives offer living proof that health and happiness are cultivated day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. As we reflect on these lessons, we carry forward a timeless truth. The secret to a long life is not hidden in laboratories or distant futures, but in how we live right now. The wisdom of Okinawa's elders invites us to slow down, cherish our bonds, savor our meals, move with joy, and greet each day with gratitude. And in doing so, we too can create a life that is not only long, but deeply worth living. Welcome to the Ikigai audiobook, Lessons from Japan's Centenarians. In this chapter, you'll uncover the secrets behind why some people live longer, healthier, and more vibrant lives. We'll explore how diet, movement, social connection, purpose, and mindset all combine to support extraordinary longevity. By the end, you'll see that living a long life isn't just about years. It's about cultivating habits, attitudes, and relationships that make every day meaningful and full of vitality.